All right, we'd like to welcome everyone to GPS to Success Kingdom Commentary. This is the place to be for all things kingdom, principled, successful, and godly, which all those things are synonymous. Boom, college word. No, it's high school. High school word, synonymous. That's like, yeah, college English. I mean, high school English, 10th grade, maybe 11th. Anywho, what's going on, people? Kingdom Commentary, you know what we're about. All things kingdom, because again we have God's kingdom, which is up here, and we have the world's kingdom, which is down here. So just to give you the hierarchy of it, right? And so, one of the things we know, we're talking about success, GPS to success, GPS, goals, plans, and action steps to those principles. But before we can even get into the goal part of it, we have to establish a foundation. And one of the things that we always talk about is this foundation is comprised of material and practices and philosophies that you can't see with your eyes. All right. Can't see with your eyes. You can't see it. This is like the code, right? This is like the code that supports everything you see on the internet. Yeah, you see me here via maybe YouTube, maybe someone forwarded the video to you, whatever. But you're seeing this as a result. What you are seeing is a result of the code that works underneath the system, right? All of the programming, the code that supports this. Yeah. So anywho, I just want us to have that as a foundation, that things that you see are made of things that you don't see. All right, we good with that? Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get going today. When we talk about success, um, because a lot of times the world will say, well, look, if you're strong and you work hard, a strong man who refuses to learn eventually will be broken. Continuous learning is a continuous weapon that keeps you advancing. But understand this: learning isn't memorizing, it's not reading without application. True learning means transformation. It means you consume knowledge and then use it to sharpen your decisions, to improve your skills, to improve your actions. Information without action is just wasted weight. The purpose of knowledge is progress, and progress only comes through application. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, feed your mind daily. Read books that challenge you, not just the ones that entertain you. Listen to voices of wisdom, not the noise of mediocrity. Study success, failure, history, strategy, psychology. Learn how others built, how others failed, how others overcame. Every lesson you absorb becomes a tool, and one day that tool is going to save you when challenges strike, because challenges do strike. The man that's unprepared will collapse, but the man whose mind is armed with knowledge the knowledge will rise. The tragedy of most people is that they cannot learn. It's that they waste hours on empty things. They waste hours on empty things, empty distractions, filling their minds with gossip, drama, and entertainment, but nothing that makes them stronger. Their minds become cluttered, weak, unprepared. Then they wonder why opportunity pass them by, why they can't solve, why they can't problem solve, why they're stuck in the same places year after year after year. The answer is simple: they refuse to feed their mind. Continuous learning is not a task, it's a lifestyle. Just as you feed your body daily with food, you must feed your mind daily with knowledge. A single meal will not sustain your body for life. But you know what? And my grandmother, who lived to be 103, I'm sorry, 102, she lived in her house until she was 98. Mabel Pemberton, Daytona Beach, Florida. Shout out Mabel Pemberton, who used to tell me, she's told me, as they don't say Haynes until they say Haynes. She was a true matriarch, right? I mean, nothing goes past. She is the one. And when she came, I remember her. come into when she would come stay with my mother and father, she would, yes, she was the boss. Everything else, oh, shout out to Mabel Pemberton. She said, they don't say Haynes until I say they say Haynes. And I say that to say, you know, those bedrock principles of generational wisdom being passed down and knowledge. And so feed your mind, feed your mind, feed your mind. You know, a single book won't sustain your mind. So a single book will not sustain your life, but even 10 minutes a day, because growth requires consistency. Even 10 minutes of powerful of reading or listening compounds into wisdom beyond measure. Small drops of knowledge create an ocean of power if you stay consistent. But knowledge alone is not enough. You must seek the right kind. So here's a coaching point, because I know some of us, we may not be the type to read a volume of books, you know. So for example, sorry about that. Again, one of the books, The Message of Leadership. I love this book because it is short. Can't see that. Oh, dang nabbit. But at any rate, it is one page, 1.5 pages, 2 pages at the most, because 10 minutes of powerful reading or listening, right? Like these books every day, it compounds into wisdom beyond measure. Small drops of knowledge, they create an ocean of power if you stay consistent. But knowledge alone is not enough, right? You must seek the right kind of knowledge, the right kind. Not everything is glitters is gold. Not every idea is worthy of your attention. The mind, like the body, becomes what you feed it. If you feed it garbage, it's going to rot. If you feed it power, it will rise. Choose carefully whatever enters your mind. Guard it like a fortress. God says, guard your heart with all diligence, because out of your heart, the things you take in your eyes, the things you take in your ears, the things you take into your heart. I'm not saying your beating heart literally, but the center of you. Don't take that stuff in, because out of your heart flow the issues of life. Ask yourself, does this expand me or does it shrink me? Does it sharpen me or dull me? Only consume what pushes you forward. The greatest advantage of continued learning is confidence. When your mind is still filled with new skills, new insights, new strategies, you're going to walk into challenges prepared. Fear loses its power when you know who you are, equipped. Doubt fades when you know you have the answers. And going back to making discipline making discipline easy. That sounds kind of oxymoronic, right? Making discipline easy. But how about we say this? Setting the stage for discipline. Setting the stage for discipline is, if I want to get up, I'm saying I'm going to get up at 5:30 or half an hour before I need to get up. So I'm going to go have quiet time and I'm going to take 2 laps around no, I'm going to take 1 lap around the block. Get that blood moving, get us used to moving, right? Well, I think before we get there, we need to set the stage for that, to make it easier for that to happen tomorrow, but doing it today. So what needs to happen? Put it in the chat. What needs to happen to prepare to go out a half an hour early to walk around the block? What needs to happen? Put it in the chat. What's the first thing that needs to happen? Some of you may say, need to just get up in the morning and make that happen. Yes, that's part of it, but we're saying set the stage, because people that are successful have the ability to look around the corner, which means they have the ability to look 2 or 3 steps ahead. So I know, here's what I know. In the morning, I'm not going to feel like getting up. It's going to happen. So what can I do to plan? What's going to be my first excuse if I don't want to get up? I don't have the clothes to wear. Lets you sleep. I don't have the clothes to wear. So you know what I'm going to do? Boom, I'm gonna get my clothes out the night before. Shorts, underwear, socks, shoes, shirt. Boom. It's sitting on the couch as I go out, or it's sitting laying at the end of the bed or laying on the chair next to the wherever, right? Socks, shoes, all that stuff. So now when you wake up, it's right there. Okay. So those are some of the examples, like you said, just a really common, practical way. Again, this is all of the underlying code that people can't see, but it makes a difference. And we want to give you those bedrock principles, like do that. Prepare for the night before, basically. That's this long and the short of it. That's the coaching point. The coaching point is prepare the night before. I had a gentleman, well, he's my guy. How old would he be? So he's my Dinah's. Okay, so he would be my godfather-in-law, right? And he always, he did the vending machines, and was like, well, he would always say, you don't make money when people press the vending machine to get the candy or the chips out. You make money on the buy. So you make money on the front end by how much the buy, because the back end is a set rate. So you make money on the purchase. And again, that's one of those leadership principles of looking 2 or 3 steps, being able to look around the corner, being able to anticipate what's coming around the corner. That's a leadership skill that we need to have, and preparing for the next day, for the next day. Because it gives you confidence, because a confidence man is not always, he his knowledge gives you certainty in every situation, and that certainty only comes from learning. And don't think learning ends when school ends. Schools gives you the information, life demands transformation. The true education begins when you decide to teach yourself what matters. Every great leader, every innovator, every achiever was a relentless student. They never stopped studying, observing, questioning. They understood that the mind is infinite, and the moment you believe you know enough is the moment you begin to decline and decay. The beauty of learning is that it compounds. The more you know, the easier it becomes to learn more. Exercise your mind. And going back to my grandmother, what she said was, she lived to 103. What she said was, I kept my mind active. I have another aunt that, again, there's some longevity that runs in my family, so I'm definitely blessed with that. But in comparison, my aunt died 20 years early, maybe 25 years earlier than my grandmother. And she was just a matter of factly type of person, Mabel Pemberton. And what she said was, well, the reason that I think she died earlier than what I thought she should die, this is her talking, was that she didn't keep her mind active. Now, again, you got to know Mabel Pemberton. She just spoke it like a TI is. And so I think at that age, she might have been around 72, 75, around that age. She was still living at home. She was still walking every day. Now she couldn't shoot a basketball like she could, but she had this little underhand shot. Oh, from the foul line, she was like 98%. 98%. But that's what she said, and that stuck with me. But I want to pass that on to you because it makes sense. It's kingdom. Just like you exercise your body, keep moving your body, because your body's built to move. You continue also to exercise that mind through continuous learning. One skill opens the door to the next, and over time, you separate yourself so far from the ordinary that people will call you gifted, when in reality, you're just disciplined. You're disciplined enough to keep learning when they stop. Ask yourself this: what have you learned today that will make tomorrow stronger? If the answer is nothing, then you are already falling behind. Each day wasted without feeding your mind is a day stolen from you, from your future. You can't afford to drift through life on yesterday's knowledge. The world is too fast, too competitive, too demanding. Only the learners survive, and only the relentless learners thrives. Mm-hmm. So commit to this law and never end a day without expanding your mind in some way. Make learning a daily ritual as sacred as eating, sleeping, and listen to wisdom. Take notes, reflect, apply. Let your hunger for growth be greater than your hunger for comfort. So commit to this law. This is a coaching point. Never end a day without expanding your mind. Make learning a daily ritual as sacred as eating, sleeping, and reading. Carry a book. Listen to wisdom. Take notes. Reflect. Apply. Let your hunger for growth be greater than your hunger for comfort. Feed your mind with such consistency that it becomes a force no other obstacle can resist. The choice is yours. You can waste your time on distractions that fade, or you can invest your time in knowledge that compounds. One path leads to weakness, and one path leads to mastery and power. The mind is your greatest weapon. Keep sharpening it. Never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop expanding. That is how you rise above the ordinary and become unstoppable. Time is the currency of life, and that is the one resource that you could never replace. Some of us, we are at the halftime of life. 50, I just turned what, 50, 55? Double nickels, boom, boom. All 10, all for what they say, all intents and purposes, I'm at halftime. And so time is limited. And for my 50 plus people, and we know who we are, we still got it. We still think, but we understand too that we are on the other side of life and we are about legacy. We realize that you can't take it with you. And so we are looking back to you, and we're looking at you 30 somethings, 40 somethings. If you get a 50 something year old that's trying to impart into you, be coachable, because at 55, we are the folks that are tuned in to kingdom principles, are focused on legacy. And if you're 55, you need to have you some co-pilots. What do I mean? So that means if you're in the professional world, right? If you're in a professional world, you need to be mentoring, and you have leadership at your job, which a lot of us do because we're leaders. You need to make sure that you are coaching someone up to be able to take your position. Now, I do realize this back in the day when we were in our 30s and 40s, especially the high achievers, right? We were looking for mentors, and maybe some folks did mentor us, maybe they didn't, but we went to them. It's not so true with this generation. For whatever reason, we did a job on them 30 somethings because we made them soft. But it's not a bad thing, but they're just soft. And because we protected them, we didn't want them, we struggled and we didn't want them to go through the struggle. And so we kind of kept a lot of that from them, which was good because it allowed them to be more creative, it allowed them to be more expressive, and that's great. But sometimes, we learn a lot from those falls. We learn a lot from experiential learning, right? Learning that, what my mom used to always say, boy, you don't believe fat meat is greasy. We learned a lot from, hey, don't touch that stove, it's hot. We learned a lot from trying out, like, ooh, that is hot. And we didn't do it again. But whereas now what we've done is we don't even let them touch the stove. But guess what life is going to do at some point? Life is going to make them touch that stove. And so we need to be aware of that. And so what I'm saying, I say all that to say this, from a coaching standpoint, we need to be intentional about reaching out to them. And here's what that looks like. There's somebody either that make you just kind of like shake your head to yourself, or somebody that you say, oh, they got a lot of potential. I see some things in them. Reach out to them. And compliment. Start off with compliments, and addressing and realizing and recognizing their talent, right? But as you also want to do, you also want to coach them so that when they're making those mistakes, which comes, it's more interpersonal, it's more, do you lean into things or do you just give up, that kind of thing? Encourage them to have some stick to itiveness, some perseverance. Because in our four pillars of success, you got purpose, you got passion, you have patience and perseverance. You got purpose, passion, perseverance, and patience. You got to be able to persevere, and that perseverance is going to get you through is continuing to drive forward, even though the times are tough, because tough times will come. Tough times will come. Tough times are part of the process, and those things that grind you, those things that push you, those things that irritate you, that you fight through, those are the things that make you stronger. 30 somethings, 40 somethings, we're coaching right now. Those things make you stronger. Yeah, you have a boss that you just like, you think are just totally unfair. If you haven't been instructed to leave that position, stay there until you're instructed to leave. But here's what will happen if you actually do that and you're obedient to it. He's going to keep you there for a little while. Well, they're being unfair to me. Doesn't make that, you know what? Yes, they are. Because he's doing that to build something up in you. It says that all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Okay, so all things, not just good things. I would submit to you on this journey of kingdom journey of being successful, which is being the best you that God created you to be. I would suggest, I would submit to you that these things happen, especially the annoying things, the unfair things. Those things especially happen to build you up. All things work together for good. All these things are working together for your good because you love God and you called according to his purpose. Or are you? Have you asked God to show you your purpose? For my universe people, have you asked the universe to show you your purpose? Now, keep in mind, the universe was made by something. That something, that entity is God who sustains all of this. That's a kingdom principle. But even if you are a universe type person, right? What's your purpose? And at the end of the day, that purpose, once identified, and even if you don't know it, going through those maturing things like dealing with a difficult boss, dealing with a difficult situation, dealing with something that you think is unfair, it's with the territory of self-improvement, godly improvement, high achievement, godly achievement, success, godly kingdom principles. Hmm. Lose money, you can earn it back. Lose health with effort, you can recover it. And so these things, and it is gone forever. Time is our most valuable resource. Time is our most valuable resource. I remember my older brother, Cecil Martin. Cecil Martin, we called him, his name was Teet. That was his nickname, Teet. But Cecil Martin, one of the things he said, I remember saying, now keep in mind, my older brothers were like 20 years older than me. So like they were like my uncle brothers, right? So yeah, just to kind of give you some context. But I remember, God rest his soul, toward the end of his life, he was talking about how time was really important. And that the concept that you can't earn time, you can't buy time back. And once it's gone forever. It slips through your fingers. It's a piece of your life that you will never see again. That's why mastering time is not a suggestion, it's a coaching point. It's a law for anyone who demands greatness. To waste time is to betray your future. To respect time is to rise above the ordinary. The tragedy is that most people live as if they have forever. They move slowly, carelessly, filling their days with distractions, meaningless conversations, and endless scrolling and empty tasks. They let other people dictate to their own. They forget that life is a countdown and every moment wasted is life itself being burned. You can see it in their eyes. People who are busy all day yet achieve nothing of substance. Activity without direction is the slow death of purpose. If you want to live with power, you must treat every hour as sacred. Ask yourself at the start of each day, what must I achieve today that moves me closer to my vision? And we'll stop there. Write that question down. What is it today that I can do to move closer to my vision? And again, if you have your GPS journals, those things are good to write in your journals. All right, y'all, we are good. Thank you, and remember this. These kingdom principles, the GPS to success, goals, plans, and action steps, but also God's plan succeeds. God's plan succeeds. All these things that we do, all these things that are going on, all these things work together for your good because you love God and you're called according to his purpose. All right, y'all. Peace.